Hey guys, welcome to a new video. So today we're going to be looking at developing some more harmonic and melodic types of sounds for our hip hop beat. And honestly, because we're sort of arranging things while we go, we might even get to the point where our beat could very well be done, depending on how we go. So I'm just going to move these around a little bit because we like to work in rounds of 4 instead of rounds of 2. And so, instead of rounds of 1, because we only had the 1 round and then the introduction. So this is what we have so far. I've just moved a couple of bits. I've done a little bit of volume balancing by clicking on the little blue indicator here, which is decibels. Okay, so it's measured in decibels. Moving it up turns the volume up, moving it down turns the volume down. If you want a lot more control over it, you can hold the control key on your keyboard as well. That generally helps make things a bit finer. So let's have a bit of a listen to what we have so far. Okay, now we can all sort of hear what happened there. Should have that lead into that, and that is all I reckon. Just have because we want to work in rounds of 4. Please don't crash on me, Ableton. Want things to work in rounds of 4, so we need all of this to be shifted out here. Let's have a bit of a listen now. Right, so from here, there's obviously a lot of different directions we can go. I'm going to start off by having a look through our samples that we have available in Ableton, and a lot of the types of sounds and stuff that were generally used for hip-hop stuff were either you got some examples of real world samples that were captured and used, such as I think there's that Public Enemy tune that uses a whistle from a kettle as the main, holding down central part of the whole instrumental, along with a couple of horn blasts. But you got to think that this is in the 80s era, so a lot of it's all disco sort of stuff. So let's have a look at what we've got under disco here. That could be something. And then we essentially just have a heap of different bits and pieces here. Okay, that's enough of that. Okay, what have we got under funk? Oh, goodness. Okay, so once again, lots of drums. I wonder what we have if we just type in guitar. So there's not a lot floating about in the actual sample stuff. Yeah, so there might not be a lot in there. What about horn stabs? I mean, that could be something. You'd want to probably... so let's just try this one. Let's just give this a whirl first. Insert new audio track. I'll go horn stab here, and here, right? And let's see how that fits in and how it works. Okay, so that can work quite well. Of course, the next issue we run into is that it's just this one note, right? It's just this one note going over and over. And, you know, there's not a lot of room to play around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the horn stab off of the audio track, and I'm instead going to delete it and create a MIDI track. And on this MIDI track, we're going to pop an instrument. This instrument that we're going to use is, we'll try the simpler today. So simpler, we need to be on the MIDI track, sorry. Double click it, drag simpler down. There we go. Got there eventually. Drag the simpler down. Let's jump back into samples and grab our horn stab. Was it this one? Yes, it was. I'm going to drop that sample into here. Okay? Now, what that has essentially done is that has allowed us to control the actual pitch and stuff of this sample through the use of MIDI. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click and create a MIDI clip that is just this long, why not? And we're going to pop a note in. Let's just go with C3 to start and see how that goes. Let's have a listen from here. Okay, so that's a bit short. Want it to go longer because we want it to take up that full area. There we go. We got that. And then we might actually extend that out a little bit more, but we're going to turn off loop. So we're not looping anymore, so we're going to have that. And then I'm sort of feeling a ba. So that. So I'm using a C there, so I'm going to put in a B note. Let's see what this sounds like. So alright, but we can actually have that go the full length here and pencil this sort of stuff in. So if you're following along, I've turned off looping here, so the length and position and stuff don't matter. You can customize it by dragging this around. Essentially, we've just got a piano roll that's going for the length of time that we want it to, and then you can duplicate it, cut around, and whatever else. So I'm going to be using notes in the key of, actually, I'll keep it to the same key that we were in before. Let's go with D major. So D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. I reckon that's it. Dun, dun. And then I might jump up to an F sharp, and then back down. Now we are super lucky that we can actually do this, because DJs back in the day had only just really gotten samplers and could only just start playing around with this sort of stuff, but it was not this easy. Is it meant to be there instead? And we of course need our drums to keep looping, need all that going on. Okay. I kind of want to keep the dat sort of pattern going on, so I'm going to copy that rhythm from there. Using C sharp. Let's see what this sounds like. Then we'll jump up to the fifth, so A, A, A. And we, of course, need our drums to keep going. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this version of it, okay? Because having that horn stab is arguably working quite well, all right? And we can save this and it's like, cool, done, easy. Because generally with your hip hop, there's not too much of a bass line and stuff going on. There's a lot of room left for our MCs and vocalists and stuff to go over the top. Okay, and you can have that looping around and obviously play around with the arrangement, bring instruments in and out, introduce other samples and stuff. But I'm going to save this as is, and now I'm going to do a quick save as version 2, because I'm going to get rid of this whole horn sample bit and, you know, get rid of this altogether, okay? And I'm instead going to use a sample from a record and see how we get on playing around with that. So I'm going to create a fresh MIDI track here. Going to pop our sampler back on, our simpler. Make sure we're on that MIDI track. Simpler, thank you. Okay. And I'm going to use a bit of a tune called Car Wash by Rose Royce that I ripped from a record yesterday. Okay, and the thing is that if you're working in here, you can obviously isolate different parts and stuff if you want. Actually, I don't reckon that's the best way to go about it. Let's get rid of that. Delete. Go away. Going to create a fresh audio track because with big samples, it's easier to work with in here. Now, if you have a MIDI controller, you can of course use the slice to MIDI function, which would involve isolating one part of the audio. So I'm just cutting away at it randomly. Control E to slice your audio, a particular part, and let's have a bit of a listen to this bit here. And now, okay. Now I quite like that little bit there, so I'm going to slice away and just isolate this little bit here. Dear YouTube, please do not copyright strike me. I'm going to go back and find our kick. Boom. I think it's about there. Maybe it's here. Oh, it's just playing from there. Of course it is. It's that waveform there. So let's just check that this is the right length of time. If we pop it there. So whisker short. Well, let's isolate it even more to just... Okay, so now I've got a simple little snippet of audio. And the thing is, once again, you can find it from any part of a song. Another example that we've got is a tune by, or a couple of vinyl rips from Tchaikovsky, and trying to work that in. So let's just layer this across and see how it sounds. Apart from the fact that we're clipping our master real hard, it's sounding pretty decent actually. It's sounding okay. And the thing is, it's all about just finding the little snippets of sound which will work. Generally, you don't want a whole heap of extra drums and stuff within the sample that you're, within the part that you're looking for. Alright, let's see if we can nab another part of the song to layer up. So I'm going to grab another audio track and I'm going to chuck the same tune on again. Okay, and this time I want to grab a bit of a vocal hit. So I'm fairly sure there is a bit of a vocal hit near the start. Oh, even... Oh, perfect. Lucky that I clicked there. So I'm going to go Control E to slice. Control E to slice. And I reckon that's going to be perfect as it is, really. But from here as well, what we can do is apply a bit of an effect to isolate that sound a bit more, okay? And we can try 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's pop it here. Ooh. And then here we can double click on our MIDI clip to open up the audio effects window, and let's go audio effect, chuck an EQ on, just a basic EQ3, and get rid of our bass. So let's listen to it on its own. Actually, I don't mind the bass that's in that, but we probably don't want too much high. So we want it to mostly be focused on the vocal, but honestly, the bass sample doesn't work too bad either. So let's have a listen to this from the start again now. that's not in time. Oh, let's fix that. So let's zoom in. Let's have a bit of a look. Closer. Okay, so now just gonna warp that horn blast to be a bit more on time at the end. Let's see how it goes. There we go. And it can be that simple. And the thing is that you can move around the elements, change them in, change them out. I think this video has been going on for way too long. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll might be working on this next time. We might not. We'll see how we get on. Good luck. Have fun. Catch you next time.